What's up? No countdown. What? Yeah, I'm kind of switching things up. It's my channel. I can kind of do what I want to. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. Um, so I thank you to everybody that hung out with us 2 weeks ago. Got to remember that 2 weeks ago with Mr. Josh Moss, the guy that is kind of using his cartography specialty to kind of be able to map out things that are going on and ways to better track Bigfoot. That's exciting. That's insane. You guys know I love cryptids, so I'm always down to talk some cryptids. Um, but happy Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day to everybody. We took last week off so everybody could spend it with their moms and all the beautiful women in their life. And to all of the moms that are out there watching right now, thank you for backing up and keeping your children out of prison and raising them correctly. Because Lord knows I would be in prison if it was not for my mother. But yeah, thank you to all of the mothers out there. Also, something that's really dope. We got a big announcement coming at the end of the show. That's right. I'm going to make you wait till the end of the show because once again, it's my channel, it's my show, and I can do what I want to. It's a free country. Yeah, so let's kind of start diving into it. Tonight's episode is extra special because I love this dude to death. For those of you guys who didn't listen to the original audio podcast episode that I had with this guy, I actually heard him on the Grave Talks with Tony Bruschi, and I knew like halfway through that I wanted this guy on my show. So I stopped vacuuming at work because I can do that. And I got on Instagram, found him, shot him a message. We had an amazing conversation. We're going to dive more into what exactly it is that he does here. You guys are going to hear his story. I want you guys to feel free to ask questions. That's the point of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Angel Medium, Dr. Michael Terzi. How's it going?
Oh, doing great, man. Thanks a lot for having me back on. I appreciate it.
Oh, heck yeah, man. Like I said, dude, it was a great conversation that we had. It was, I've been listening a lot to, or mulling through even now, still some of the conversation that we had. And
Oh, really?
it's just very, I take a lot of it to heart because you are literally speaking with angels,
Yeah,
which is,
exactly. I know it's crazy. I know, and it's not something that I expected. Definitely didn't expect in my life. It just hit me all of a sudden. Definitely didn't expect it in my 30s either. Which
yeah,
it's just not what you think is going to happen.
It's crazy when stuff just tends to pop up because it's right when you're not expecting it.
Yeah,
Which is beautiful. I love unexpected things. Not really, but okay. Let's
it
go ahead.
depends.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on what it is. Let's say
Yeah,
hi to some people. We've got Hanging with Honey in the house. How's it going, Honey? Or as I affectionately refer to her, Hanging with Money. We've got Tony from Haunted Expeditions. Um, Tony, I concede you beat me to Smokemont Church. You turd. We've got Cassie in the house. Love Cassie to death. Mark B is hanging out. How's it going, Mark? Nicole Perrin. Ooh, we got so many people in the house tonight. This is a blessing, man. It's a blessing. My investigation partner, Keisha. And then we've got Keisha's
awesome.
daughter, who, Mike, I don't know if you know this, man. She's 12 years old, this girl. And she has already started her paranormal investigation journey. Alyssa's
Wow,
Haunted Adventures is in the house. It's Keisha's daughter.
awesome.
We got Gene Hudson here hanging out. Ooh, there's so many people here tonight, man. We got Three Souls Paranormal in the house. Sarah Ruth. Goodness. You know what? We can keep going, but that's not why we're here. We're not why we're here. Thank you all for the support, though. Thank you all for the support. You're all amazing and fantastic. So, Michael, man, can I call you Mike? I'm gonna call you
Of
Mike.
course you can. Yeah.
Let's run it back, man. How did this whole thing get started for you?
Yeah, like I said, not something that I expected to ever happen to me. I had always been slightly interested in the paranormal. It was always a kind of a cool little novelty thing. When I was growing up, I thought to myself, we would watch obviously Ghost Hunters, with Jay and Grant and everything. We were, watching from the very first episodes. We always thought it was interesting, but I was always the kind of guy that was like, oh, look, they debunked that because ghosts really, come on.
Yeah.
And then what happened was because I was very much a guy of science, As you said, Dr. Michael Terzi, I'm an optometrist. So I was in optometry school. And during that time, studying very hard around a lot of people, a lot of stress, all of a sudden, I started to get a lot more anxious and I started to get depressed. And my mood swings were just going out of control. And I had no idea what was going on because that wasn't me. I was always a pretty chill, kickback guy. With a test, I'm like, I studied. Pass, I pass. I don't, whatever. I used to say to myself. And that's just the attitude I had. All of a sudden, I was just crying on my way home during my 2-hour commutes home from school. And I was like, why am I crying? This doesn't make sense. This is not me. And so I had told my wife about it, and she kind of looked down for a little bit. She said, well, maybe you're an empath. And I said, well, what's an empath? And she's like, I don't really know. Let's look it up. And it was just one of those things that she just kind of got. And we looked it up. And as a doctor in training at the time, I'm like, oh, I have all these symptoms. And even though it's not really symptoms, obviously, it was a gift that I knew nothing about. And as I went through it, I realized that the voices that I was hearing, even while I was in class, the things that I was feeling weren't me. They were other people. And as I started to look more and more into it, there's a whole community of people out there that don't know what to do with being an empath and how to control it and all this craziness. So I started going to classes with mediums that were in the local area. And yeah, it didn't help a lot. They tried, and I give them power to that. They tried, but my case always seemed slightly different than everybody else's. And so as I started going to these classes to try to help myself, I saw my first human spirit. Out of nowhere, just all of a sudden, just a guy sitting in the doorway or standing in a doorway. And I looked, and every time I looked at him, he went away. But then I would look away or look down, and I could see out of my peripheral, there he is, clear as day, the silhouette of a man. And it kind of snowballed from there to the point where I started seeing more and more human spirits. Meanwhile, I started learning how to control my empathy a little bit more. And as things came to a head one day, I was sitting there talking to my wife, saying how frustrated I was because it was distracting me from my studies. It was making it hard for me to see patients because I was in clinic at the time. And when all of it came to a head, I was just angry. And then all of a sudden, this bright white light came out of nowhere, and I'm in my second story room. Coming through my window, this enormously amazing, brilliant white light. And it hit me so hard that my heart started to just beat so fast. But my wife didn't react. And I'm like, well, what? She didn't even notice that it was happening. But my heart just was beating so quickly, and I could feel this pouring in of emotion. And it gives me chills whenever I talk about it, the first time I ever met my angel. And it was this unconditional love and support and hope. And it was just so amazing. And he comes in, and this white light engulfs the room. And my wife looks at me and says, why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm crying. What? And it wasn't like I wasn't ugly face crying. I just had tears streaming down my face because of the intensity of the energy that I was feeling. And, he came in, and I started talking with him, and I'm not going to say the exact words for, censor, but he says basically cut the crap. And he said a different word. And I was like, what? And he's like, this is who you are. Stop fighting it. This is part of who you are, who you're meant to be. Yeah, doctor is good, but you have something more that you have to do. And the sooner you accept that, the less angry you're going to be. But he's like, I'm here and I'm going to help you. And from then on, I always saw him, saw the rest of my angels started coming in, did reading for my wife, my parents. I came out of the spiritual closet too, did readings for them. Obviously, my sister. And then I started doing strangers, and it just blew up from there. It was an amazing thing that filled that void in my life, I think, that I was feeling that I never knew I needed to fix. It was like I didn't know about this part of myself. And it made life seem like it made more sense, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's how it started. And, a few years later, it's still happening. So it's a pretty amazing thing. And then we got into the paranormal investigating like you do, started doing things like that. And it just became an amazing part of my life. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
It's your story. I've heard it now like 3 times, and I absolutely love it, man.
Oh,
Absolutely love
thanks.
it. It's crazy because a lot of us have experienced all of that, very much being so anxious but also being so closed off from the world almost
Yeah.
because of the anxiety, and we don't really lean into potentially trying to figure out the true source of the anxiety. Instead, we just kind of dive into medications or something like that when it could be the fact that we all have an ability that we don't understand.
Yeah,
um,
and that's something that I've talked to a few people about. Not to interrupt, but yeah, I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head, man, because there are so many people out there. Like I did a reading for somebody um, in a neighboring city here, and she was a shut-in.
mm,
She would not leave her house because every time she left her house, she would feel all this negative energy that she felt like she couldn't control. Fear, anger, hatred, anxiety, depression. It would just hit her. And she had 2 kids. So it was
mm.
something that was like she would leave to go shopping and pick them up, and then she would come home. And even then, it was torturous for her. And then once I helped her understand that it's because you are an empath, but you can control it, and I
Yeah.
helped her teach her how to control it. And her angel gave her some advice on how to deal with it as well. She started leaving the house again. And I'm not saying that every case of anxiety and depression is not clinical. As a doctor, I know sometimes physiologically we need some help. I always
Mhm.
say physical and spiritual, we need a balance. So, but some people, it's because they don't understand their clairvoyance. They don't understand their claircognizance. They don't understand their extreme empathy that they're feeling because the gift is a part of us. It doesn't
Mhm.
control us. We control it because it's a part of who we are. And our angels are there to help us with that. So that's why I love doing the readings because I'll meet a lot of people that might have a gift here and there. And then the angel's like, okay, let's get into this. This is going to help you out a lot. And then they start telling little tips and tricks and things that they can do to help them. And for some people, it's amazing to get the feedback and hear them say, that really helped my life. You did something that no one else was able to do. And I don't like tooting my own horn, but I mean, I would be remiss to not mention that sometimes these readings can really help people out.
And I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
I'm still, sadly, due to losing my job 2 weeks ago, I'm not in a place financially and just haven't been for a while. I'm still planning on getting a freaking reading, my dude. I am. Um, but that kind of leads us into one of our first questions that we have here from Nicole. Do we all have angels? Because I could use one.
Yeah, we all have angels. One of the things that I tell people, even in the beginning of every reading, I do still because I want to make sure everyone knows it and understands. Every person has a guardian angel. Um, in fact, there's a team behind everybody. I haven't seen less than 3 or more than 5 yet, consisting of guardian angels and spirit guides. So, to clarify, guardian angels are angelic souls. Created as angels, have always been angels. We know a lot about the popular ones like the seraphim archangels, Michael, Gabriel. They created and they always have been, same as our guardian angels. Then we have spirit guides who are human souls. So, past loved ones, friends, people from past lives sometimes become, my grandfather that died before I was born. He's my
Mm,
spirit guide. He's chilling behind me all the time in my team. So I mean, we have a team behind us. It doesn't always seem like that because sometimes we go through really bad times or traumatic experiences, which I know there are a lot of people out there that go through really, really difficult times. I
mm,
can't even complain about my stuff when I hear about some things that people go through. But our angels are there with us. They just can't protect us from everything that happens, but they can always help guide us out of it and to help us heal from those wounds that we have. So I always tell people, believe it or not, we all have an angel. In fact, a team. And I always talk with the main guardian, I call them, because there's always that one angel that we're actually connected with on a soul level. I always
mm.
say our energy resonates with that one angel, and so they're with us throughout all of our lives, if people believe in past lives, which I do because I've seen them. And so they've been with us throughout those lives and throughout this life. And they're like our twin flame almost, it's like our best friend. We never knew that was really there. So yes, 100%, everybody's got one.
So to go along with that, I think another really good question that kind of ties in with this is: say we don't recognize that we have angels around us. Say that we're we haven't taken the time to have a reading from you to truly understand who our angels are, why they're there, specifically which ones do what. How do we? How can we kind of understand that they're around us? Are they making themselves known even though we don't know they're there? And if they are, how does that come across?
Yeah, it's difficult because there are specific ways they do things, and for that, I sometimes would need a reading because each person's a little different.
Mm,
But then there's general ways that they try to communicate with us too, and so there have been a lot of people that said that they have felt things. So I always talk about it as the gut feeling and intuition. Don't go down that alleyway, go make that friend, go take that class. We feel like we have to do something.
mm,
But then something up here tells us, no, don't do that, or we talk ourselves out of it, or that doesn't make sense, or whatever it might be. Universally, I always say all guardian angels will speak to us through a degree of intuition because that's the best way that they can reach what they call the heart of our soul. And
mm,
that's where the gut feeling comes from, that pull that doesn't make any sense in the moment, but we feel like we have to follow it. So
mm.
that's the biggest one that I always tell people is try to start to listen to your intuition a little bit more. Because a lot of the times it's an angel throwing down a red or green flag. There have been people that have told me that, I met somebody during a trip one year who said that he worked at the World Trade Center before 9/11 happened, obviously. And he said one day he woke up getting ready to go to work in New York, New York, and he was like, something, I feel like I don't want to go in today. Well, guess what day that was?
Oh
Now,
Lord.
I mean, and it gives me chills to think about because something could have happened to him. Now, I mean, I wish and I could say that maybe everybody could have maybe felt that, but it's not always in the cards for everybody to get those messages. And so, unfortunately, sometimes these things happen, tragedy strikes. But for some reason, during that time, and it's probably because he had something else that he was meant to do later, maybe,
Mm,
he felt that and stayed home. And I'm sure there may have been other people that have even had that message too. I mean, I've heard other stories from people that, secondhand, so I don't like talking about them, but because I didn't hear it right from them. But they said that, yeah, their friend got something similar where they're like, no, I shouldn't go. And it's been other things too, the Las Vegas shooting. There have been things where people get those intuition marks. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's as something as easy as, what should I do? Should I do this or should I do that? And those are
mm,
the big things that we always ask. I mean, big thing as in that's the thing that the people ask me the most is, can the angel help me make this decision? Yeah, they can, but it's a matter of being able to train yourself to strengthen that bond with them so that you can listen and get all those messages from them. So yeah, the intuition is the biggest one that I always tell people to start with because otherwise everything else gets a little more complicated.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we were talking last time, you were talking about how sometimes when you catch like a ringing in your ears, or sometimes if
Yeah,
you feel like a pressure on the top of your head or something like that, then it could
definitely.
potentially be a way that they're trying to come across.
Hmm.
So it's kind of based from what I remember, it's based off of your own communication abilities.
Yeah,
So if you communicate through touch, it would be something that felt like being touched.
yeah, exactly. Or what you might have a sensitivity to, I guess. So I
Hmm.
mean, like for me, I don't know why it happened this way, but I started, feeling things obviously as an empath first, but then I started seeing the spirit before I could actually hear them. Maybe because I'm more like a visual learner, where I'm looking at this and I can kind of picture in my mind what I'm looking at, so I can remember what it is.
Hmm.
So, like we mentioned last time, yeah, there's visual ways they talk to us. Repeating numbers, throwing out animals sometimes to catch our attention. There are little things that they do with that. Auditory, like you mentioned, ringing in the ear happens a lot. Getting one of those songs stuck in your head that you have no idea why it's stuck in your head for weeks, and then you finally look it up and you're like, oh, it's gone now. because there was a message in there that they wanted to get to you. I even find that sometimes auditorily angels will talk through other people sometimes. And then you catch it and you're like, there's no way this guy could have known that I had this issue. Okay, it's an angel talking to me through them, because sometimes you need to hear it from a different source. And then there's tactile ways, so physical. Angel will touch you, you'll feel it. You feel a little push, you feel a little head palming, they call it, where they actually take their hands, their giant hands, and they just put them right on our head like it's like a volleyball. They could palm us and pick us up. And then we feel that pressure or that warmth right there in our crown chakra. So I mean, there's all these different ways that they talk with us. The intuition one I talk about the most because that's the most universal, because not every angel will be physical or auditory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting question here from Gene Hudson. Some people set a plate at the table for their angels. I wonder what the doctor has to think about that.
Well, I think that's actually pretty awesome, really. I have not heard that before. That's cool. The reason why I think it's kind of awesome is because that's one of the biggest things that I learned as I was going through this experience, is that, especially going from strict science to now science and paranormal combined, which was a hard transfer, believe me, is the fact that our angels are people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to do any specific ceremony. We don't have to treat them, any different than we would a really good friend of ours. Now, obviously, we want to respect them because they're there to help us, but they're not as easily insulted as, the person next to us. They know who we are as a person. I tell everybody, get mad at your angel. That's fine. They don't care. They're still going to love you no matter what. They're going to love you no matter what. And it's an amazing thing. So setting a plate for that table, that just shows that person knows and believes that they're there and treating them like a person. I don't set a plate at the table, but I talk to them every day. Sometimes they talk more than I want to talk, but I acknowledge them and they're friends. Mm-hmm. Now they guide me, so I respect them as teachers, but they are friends. So I think that's cool, honestly.
And then Keisha wanted to make a note about the speaking through intuition. She said it's a great advice because it's hard to tell the difference between a message and your own insecurities and thoughts. And I think that is a huge hang up for a lot of people. Is there is so much self-doubt. Oh, I can't tell you how many times in a day I completely doubt everything that I do and every thought that I have. And you get inside your head and you don't understand really where the message is coming across. Is it me, or is it somebody else saying, hey dude, straighten up?
Yeah, exactly. And I talk about that too with people, especially talking about their own gifts. Like, for example, claircognizance is a very strange gift where it's clear knowing. So people just know things out of nowhere. It's like the angels always say intuition on steroids. So it's like they know something is going to happen. They can read somebody when no one else can. How do they trust that stuff? I mean, some of it is just completely out of left field. And so I tell people, because my angels told me this when I first started, especially to help me with my readings, because believe me, I was second guessing a lot of stuff when I first started. Yeah. I talk about my story like it happened like that, but really it was happening over years. And so the big thing that they taught me that I still teach people is a very simple thing that people, for some reason, don't realize. Don't second guess. Just double check what you're getting. And I do that all the time, even when I'm doing a reading to this day, especially if it's something crazy. Sometimes I get the name of a family dog that passed away. And I'm like, am I just making up stuff sometimes? Or like, what is this? And I double check and I get it again. And I'm like, okay, you're telling me. And I'm like, is this the name? And they're like, yes, oh my gosh, and they start bawling. And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't mean to make you cry. They just want to let you know that he's cool, and they're like, oh, no, it just made me feel really great to know. And if I second guessed myself and didn't say it, then that piece of information would have gotten lost and I would have dismissed it. So I tell people the only way you can start trusting yourself, because I used to do 2-hour readings. When I first started doing readings, it was 2 hours long, which is a long time to do a reading. But it's because I was so scared of getting something wrong, because I'm a new new guy on the scene, angel medium out of nowhere, this eye doctor that's all of a sudden coming into the paranormal field. And I'm getting these referrals from other people that I did little readings for. And so I finally get my first paid reading, which back then I was charging like, like $30, for a reading, because I was like, please let me try, And so people, I would come in and I would do a reading with them, and I'd be there for 2 hours. And it's because I'm like, make sure, when I do a reading, I'm not machine gun. I'm not machine gun Mike. I'm just, I believe in quality over quantity. So I'm not just spouting out random stuff when I'm doing a reading. I'm making sure that I get it right. And at first, I wasn't very good at it. I'm not doing it quickly anyway. I was like, let me make sure. And that was the one thing that they said, just double check yourself, but say what you get and trust yourself, especially those with really strong intuition and claircognizance. Yeah. And if you don't trust it right away, something that helped me and also helped other people that I know is write it down. Date it and write it down. I always make this little joke that my wife has claircognizance, and she wrote down that I was going to be on something like Coast to Coast. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it happened a while back. She knew. And we didn't even know what Coast to Coast was at the time because we were new into the field. And then all of a sudden, 2020 came around. And then she had it written down. And that gave her confidence, So it was something that can help you boost, because with confidence in yourself comes a strengthening of your own abilities. Because, if you don't have confidence, then you're just sitting there like, maybe, okay, this could be happening, and then no one's going to believe you. You're not even going to believe you if you can't have confidence. And the only way to do it is to practice. So 100%. Knowing that intuition is real and trusting yourself is the biggest thing. So I 100% agree.
Yeah. Unknown Ventures has a question. It is, how can we discover or find our gift?
That is a very difficult question, because there's other avenues that people can take depending on the situation. For me, it was a trial by fire. Like I said, I was thrown into something, and there were other personal things in my life that I was going through at the time too, that through stress and strain and issues that were going on, all of a sudden these things awoke. It took a while for them to fully awaken, obviously. Like I said, it didn't happen within an hour. I was suffering with stuff for a good 3 years before it started to become something I could actually manage. That's why I love training people with it. Now, the easiest way, and I'm not trying to do this as a shameless plug, angel readings. If you know another angel medium that you want to try out, go right ahead. I don't know a lot of
completely shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless
down
plug
in the description, guys.
But the angels know. So if you're curious or you feel like you kind of already know but need affirmation during the reading, we delve into that. And we talk about what you can do to strengthen it and things like that. I even do private classes for people who want to strengthen their gifts. But outside of that, really, it's about just experimenting. If I had not taken any public classes, even though the people that were trying to help me weren't really hitting it on the head, I was still exposed to that. So because of that, I paid attention. And now I have my own psychically gifted class that I try to do locally, and I'll be doing it on Zoom soon, where I go through exercises to see, because I kind of break it down into the clairs: claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairtangency. There's different ones that people have, and those are the root. Like mine started off as empathy and then clairvoyance. I didn't get clairaudience for like a year. So for a year, I was seeing things but couldn't hear anything. I always joke that it was like the Charlie Brown teacher talking to me whenever a spirit would come by. 100%. That's what I would hear. And I'd be like, what? I don't understand you, spirit of a man. It's like, I don't get what you're trying to say to me. I want to help. I don't know what to do. That was after I got over the craziness of seeing a spirit. Then as things started to progress, I started to be able to hear. And so it was about diving into it and really looking at different things that you can do. I give exercises during my class that I hope to start up again, which is like a group class. So where I say, okay, for clairvoyance, we're going to do this exercise. And this is something you can do at home to see if you can strengthen that. For clairaudience, this is what you can do. And these are things that my angels helped me with. But really, if you're really curious and want to know 100% for the truth, going to somebody that you trust as a medium. Obviously, me as an angel medium, I'm speaking right with your angel, so I'll know exactly what gift you have. But I'm sure there are other mediums out there that are probably pretty sensitive that are like, oh, I think you have clairvoyance, and this is how I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell everybody, though, if you hear about a medium, no matter how popular they are, no, nothing. If they do not resonate with you, if what they're saying makes no sense, you don't have to listen to them. Just because I say that I'm an angel medium, and I am, obviously, because I know it and I believe it, but I don't expect everybody to just take my word for it. If you get a reading from me and it goes awesome, which most of them do, obviously, because I'm still doing them years later, then that's great. But if there's something in the reading that you don't resonate with, you don't have to listen to me. So if someone says that you're clairvoyant and you see things and you don't see anything and never have, and that doesn't resonate with you, don't think like you have to try to see things. That's why I say that. And whatever comes naturally to you, that's what you start off with. Then other things come later.
So it's like sorry, I got some sniffles. Allergies are going crazy right now.
Oh, I know.
Everything that should be dead is now coming back to life. It's a problem. But it seems like, and I'm sure that a lot of people will agree with me here, that if you do have an ability, it's a muscle. It's got to be exercised. You can build it up, get stronger, and be able to properly go out and achieve whatever that goal may be for you or for someone else.
Yeah, like you said it perfectly. Like there was a student that I had for a little while. Actually, there's I'll use my other student because he's actually part of my group now. He's an awesome guy. He's just newly 21 this last week, so he's really great and amazing. I met him. I think he was 17 at the time, and he was plagued by seeing this negative entity that would always be around him. He had gone to other mediums, other things. His mother totally believed him. His father did not. And it was one of those things that was like something that really bothered him. And he didn't know what to do with it. And so I say that because there are people out there that naturally might have a particular gift already. So they see things already when they don't want to. I wasn't that person right away. I had to go through the stress and strain of the empath stuff at first. Now, I saw a few things when I was a kid. I talk about them in my book as well that I'm writing. So I had little things. But as a young adult to an adult, I was pretty much just real world. So he always had that issue. So doing readings with him and talking with his angels, he has become one of the most talented mediums that I know now. And only
That's
21,
awesome.
and he's already getting into it. And he comes with me on the investigations, no matter how dark or sinister they might be, no matter how scary they could be, no matter what kind of spirit it is, he's there. And so he went from being completely scared of this one spirit to going in there with me in some pretty dark cases and being right there. Now he's still learning, so he's afraid to talk a lot during the cases as a medium like I do, but he still contributes so much and he's not afraid and he's there. So I think that being able to work out his muscle of seeing it helped him to really start to see what it really was and that they are just people that we're seeing. Usually. I mean, like, there's the percentage of the demonic cases that people might see, or there's dark elemental spirits sometimes that we might come across, but they're the dark spirits that are in most people's homes. I always say like 97-98% of them are people. We just forget that because they're so negative and scary looking, or they're trying to feed off of others. So 100% working it out like a muscle. I talk about that with meditation too. There are different types of meditations. Find the right one for you and keep doing it because you'll get more and more out of it. Even breath work sometimes you got to keep doing. Because I love doing breath work, but when I first started it, I hated it, because it seems like it's a chore. So 100% like a muscle.
It's crazy. I love the fact that at such a young age he was able to discover his mediumship, and now he's out there and he's doing that kind of stuff. You know, that was what was so cool about what was it, last Saturday? We took Alyssa, Keisha's 12-year-old daughter, out on an
Yeah.
investigation, and even at a young age, when stuff started hopping, she knew when to back out.
Yeah.
She knew when to tap out and walk out of the abandoned church and just kind of take a minute for herself. I think that's incredibly important, and I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
a huge nod to intuition and kind of paying attention to what's going on around, attention to what you're feeling and what you're seeing in her case.
Uh-huh.
But Unknown Ventures has a great question here. Do you have a YouTube?
That's funny. We were just talking about that just a little bit ago. I don't yet. I need to because when I first started this whole social media thing, I have to tell you, I'm the kind of guy that only has social media because he was in medical school and he had to be in a Facebook group for studying. So otherwise, I didn't have a Facebook before medical school. I really didn't care to have one because I wasn't a big social media guy. I was just, here's my friends, here's my family, I'm good. Um, so I started getting into all of that. And during my first run on my Facebook, I started something that I didn't continue, which was things called angel knowledge. And there was little, I would say angel knowledge one, angel knowledge two, because there were little things that my angels taught me that I wanted to share with other people.
That's
And
awesome.
so I would type it out, and then I would put like a little picture, a Facebook picture, and then I would post it, and people would like it. At the time I only had like 30, 40 followers, and so it was something that I wanted to continue. Now I want to kind of continue something like that myself. Not only maybe video recording my podcast that hopefully we'll start doing again soon, but also doing my own thing where I talk a little bit about what they've taught me, something really important that seems significant right now. I want
Yeah.
to be able to get it out there. Believe it or not, I mean, I'm kind of a camera shy kind of guy. So every time I think about holding, putting up my phone or getting a camera on me and then just recording myself, I'm like, yeah, but I have to get over that. So I don't have a YouTube yet. But obviously, I've done some other YouTube podcasts. My first one was with Karen A. Dahlman, who is part of the Talking Board Historical Society. That was the
Mhm.
first ever interview that I ever did. It was a two-part YouTube one, and there's a couple of others, including this one now, obviously. But I don't have my own yet, but I will. It's just someone else just giving me a kick in the butt because, believe me, you
I'm
weren't
gonna
the
hold
first
you
one
to
to
it.
ask. So I know, man. I know. I'm
I'm gonna
just so bad.
constantly message you every day, like 3, 4 times a day, and be like, "Yo, is it up yet? Is it up yet? Is it up yet?
Oh,
Is it
great.
up
Here's
yet?"
John again. Okay. Yeah.
So when
Yeah,
it
I do have to
comes,
have one.
yeah, you do, man, you do.
I know.
I think that the
Oh, you froze. Uh-oh. Oh, things were going seamless. Well, I don't know if anyone else can hear me, but for some reason on my end, John is frozen. I cannot hear him, and he is frozen in one spot. I don't know if anyone else knows or has that happening. Or maybe I'm frozen for everybody else. Technical difficulty. Well, I guess I'm in the show by myself. I'm not sure what else we can talk about. Hopefully, John will come back soon. I don't know if I want to go off on anything without him here, or if anyone's even still watching because I can't see, or if I timed out. I'm not sure what happened. Uh, Let me message him.
Okay, I have
You're back.
no idea what just happened there, guys. Oh my
Yeah,
god, no
I
clue
don't know
what
what
just
happened
happened.
either.
Like,
I was like, let me message him. I don't know if I'm still on or like,
no, you were still on. You were
oh
still
crap.
live. As if because if I don't end the broadcast, that
It just
yeah,
keeps
it
going.
stays
Oh,
live.
okay. I probably
For
should have done
those
a
of you
dance or
guys,
something.
yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, that is what is called pulling a Rochelle. She is a good friend of mine, but she decided one day on one of her after party shows on her channel that instead of ending the live stream, that she was just going to exit out, and it left me and our buddy Rooted just on her screen for an hour waiting for her to come back and end the live stream. So
That was hot to
yeah.
know. Not sure what to talk about right
No,
now.
that's it. No, you're good. You're good, bro. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
But
It was like a minute or two. Not a big deal.
when it comes to your mediumship and speaking with angels and things like that, how are you able to take that out into the field on investigations?
Okay, that's a great question. Yeah, so it was something that I didn't realize at the time that was going to be so helpful. But I, obviously, as a paranormal investigator myself, along with my group Rise Paranormal, we go to places just like you would. We do a lot of suburban homes and some businesses and things like that. We don't have as many abandoned places and places that people call us in to do, although we've done a few. And we use equipment, cameras, obviously EMF detectors, the K2s, spirit boxes, REM pods. We have all that good stuff. We don't have all the super expensive stuff yet, although maybe one day. But we do use that. But the thing is that as a medium, before I even get there, sometimes I'm already feeling it. I already know something is going on. Now, I don't let that sway me. I
Mm-hmm.
even tell people that are on the team that are new to this stuff, like the guy I was talking about, the one, the guy that I helped for a few years. I tell them all the time, even if you're feeling something and you think this could be something big, as a medium, you have to be, balanced. So it could be nothing. So don't go in there thinking that it's going to be something right away, especially just if the client is super convinced that there's something there, because sometimes they can be persuasive and they could influence you as a medium and as an investigator sometimes, thinking that something is something when it's not anything at all. So I go in there blank. Like whatever the person, I even tell people not to give me a lot of details because as a medium, I want to be able to pick it up on my own. So I go
Mm-hmm.
in there and I do a walkthrough and I see what it is that I feel, what I'm getting. I go to certain rooms, I go through the area, and then I'll write things down, I'll get stuff down, and then I'll talk to the client before we start the main investigation. It's called like the consultation portion. And after that happens, that's when they walk us through and they say, yeah, exactly. This was the room you said that there was something in, and you said it was a female. I hear a woman's voice in here every other day. And so I'm like, okay, that's validation for me. And then when we then do an investigation with equipment, when we do, then we get things and then I'm getting things and then I say them like I ask the right questions, basically, is how being a medium can help me a lot. Because sometimes people will just go in and just ask, what is your name? Do you know what year it is? Or, just general questions like that. But sometimes I'm already getting something and I say, is your name this? Was your family living here back in this time? Different things that I feel like I could ask that they would respond to. And then you get validation from the equipment. That is an amazing part when
Yeah, it
you ask
is.
a question and it's something that's kind of just out of the blue, and then all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden they answer it. And then you're like, whoa, okay, I know I'm a medium and all, but still getting it like that, it still shocks me sometimes because
Yeah.
even as a medium, sometimes we're like, I know I'm getting it right, but not everyone else can hear that. And so then
Yeah.
when you get that EVP, when you have somebody, when we have somebody knocks, that they knock something over or you hear a creak when you know that they were there. So basically, I see having a medium on the team helps you to validate the physical evidence that you get and helps to validate the medium as well. So it's like getting two pieces together to be able to show that, yeah, again, something that I love to talk about, science and spirituality. If we can combine the two, then we can get a much bigger story. And as a medium, I'm not perfect, especially with negative spirits that are around. Sometimes they're not right there just talking perfectly. You get little bits and pieces, but then sometimes the recorder will get just one more word or something just a little bit better than what you were getting. It connects, but now it builds. And so that's why I think having both of those attributes is a really big advantage to being able to have people that are a little bit more sensitive on a team to be able to get the whole picture, especially when you're trying to help a family out. I mean, you want to help that student and you want to help the family. You don't want to go in there with just, half-assed, So, I mean, if you have access to somebody that you trust that's a medium or that is very sensitive, even having an empath on the team helps. That's what I feel. So it just makes it stronger.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you're doing something that only a couple of other teams that I've seen do, where you actually have a medium on the team and you are using the instrumentation to corroborate. Because we can talk about it all day long, but if there's no proof to back it up, what are we even doing? And I
Yeah.
love the fact that you are more than willing to understand that, because being a man of science, being a doctor, you know that, hey, you can't have one without the other. You can't simply walk in with saying, "Oh, I felt this,"
Yeah.
and nothing to back it up.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes you come across cases where somebody is like, I just need a clearing straight up. I know something is here. Can you come by? Can you help me to be able to move this spirit on? Because that's what we do, is we try to help to be able to move those spirits to the light. Being an angel medium, I connect with the angels and all that stuff and try to help those spirits move on. But then we get the investigation ones. When it's an investigation, they want not just your spiritual confirmation, they want something. Now, do I always get amazing evidence? I mean, no. As a real investigator, it's not always the most awesome evidence that comes up in everything that you investigate. I'm not that lucky. Even as a medium, and I ask them to do it, this equipment doesn't always pick it up the way I can hear it, and so it's not perfect. But that's the
Yeah.
way it is. Is that science and spirituality need to catch up to each other so that we can have both. And then, because of both of them coming together like that, you get all the validation and you know that it's happening, and it helps people to be able to understand it better.
Great question coming through with Gene here. Can your angels help in healing illness?
Okay, it's a good question. Yeah, they can. Now, it's a complicated one because obviously, if angels could heal everything all the time, then nobody would be sick or die from any kind of illness or disease or any kind of chronic issue. Um, I wish it was that case. Sometimes there are extenuating circumstances as to why you are going through this particular illness. That would be something that I would have to talk about individually with a person, obviously. But they can help. And at the very least, help in alleviating a lot of the pain if it is something that's chronic that you have to go through in this life, perhaps. So, like for me, I do have a little bit of a chronic condition myself that I don't really go into too much because it's a little personal. But I do have an issue that I do go through, and I have to kind of just work through that. And I am also a Reiki master. So at the same time, I also try to heal through energy healing other people as well. And because I'm an angel medium, I combine the two into, for lack of creativity, angel Reiki. Maybe I'll think of a more creative name later on. And it wasn't, and I learned the original Usui method of Reiki for those Reiki practitioners out there. I learned the original Usui method. And at the end of it, I felt like there were some pieces missing from what my teacher had taught me. And so my angels said, yeah, there's a few holes here. Let us fill them in. And so that's why I do my own brand of that now, kind of like a hybrid. And so I do self healing on myself, and I ask my angels to help me. And so I do my own self Reiki. Now, not everyone knows how to do Reiki, but you can ask them to help. They can help you relieve the pain, or some of their help might be guiding you to the right physical solution. For a while, there was somebody that I knew that had some really serious issues, and their angel told them during a reading, you need to go see somebody. There's a guy in the downtown area where you're at. He's a naturopath. He has what you need. You're going to know him. His name begins with a J. And so that's what I got. Unfortunately, I didn't get the exact name. I guess the angel wanted him to do a little homework to find it. And he
Of
found
course.
him, went to him, and not perfectly cured, but better. And
Yeah.
so sometimes the healing comes in the form of them trying to guide us to help us heal ourselves and to find the right place to be able to go or the right person that can help us.
Mm.
So, a lot of different ways angels can help us heal. There's the actual spiritual way where they can support our energy system to be able to promote self healing in the body. And then there's that guidance to be able to get us on the right path towards our own healing.
Yeah. One last question from Gene. It's a follow up.
Sure.
Can you ask your angels to help with another person's illness?
Yes, you can. Now, obviously, okay, so I'm going to go a little bit broad. There obviously are angels out there that are not guardian angels. A lot of people have heard of the big seraphim archangels, Michael, Gabriel. Those are the two that most people know about. I think probably the third most popular is someone that I'm getting to, which is Raphael. Raphael is a seraphim archangel, just like Michael and Gabriel, and meaning he's no one's guardian. He's just up there, just like one of the big dudes, and he's the one that you ask for healing. So you can ask angels like Raphael for extra help as well. Getting back to the guardian angel portion of it, your angel is yours. So you can ask your angel to help another heal. But what's going to happen is that your angel will then go to that guardian and try to help a little bit with their guardian trying to help them heal. And you can also send your own energy through your angel to them to be able to help with healing. There's distance Reiki that a
That's
lot of
interesting.
yeah, there's distance Reiki that I do all the time. Obviously, since the whole COVID thing, I had to do distance because I couldn't do in person. But it was a thing, obviously, before any of that happened. That way, people could do Reiki on somebody across the country, and there's a way to be able to do that. Even if you don't know exactly how those steps go, having that intention and that love and that concern and that energy for that person, and say, I'm sending them energy for healing. You can send your own, and then your angel will help you send that over to that person to be able to help them. Now, I've heard of times where it was really, really super effective. I heard of times where a little bit happened. It really all depends. I can't guarantee that doing that every time will be an amazing feat. But yeah, you can ask your angel, but then your angel will kind of pass it along. But then if you want your angel to help you to be able to help them, they're all on board for that too.
That's crazy, man. That's definitely something to kind of take home and think about. The fact that we can actually, once we actually get in touch with them, not only can they boost our immune system, but we can actually use our energy to send through and to help boost somebody else. Like that's phenomenal, man.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I talk about when I do Reiki for people is I let them know, as a man of science, it was something that was really hard for me to swallow that Reiki actually works, but it does help. And the reason why I say that is because I learned, especially from my own angels, that it's a way to promote self healing in the body. So it's not magic. I can't just, I can't, perform miracles. That's just not in my
You're not
wheelhouse.
Jesus.
Obviously, yeah. So I mean, I can't do those miracles like that from the Bible and everything. But there have been some pretty amazing times when I was doing Reiki on somebody that had hypertension. I didn't even know that they had it. I did the Reiki, and then I said, by the way, your angel was telling me to go around your heart and to try to help you with your blood pressure. And she said, yeah, I was just diagnosed with hypertension. A couple of weeks later, she messages me saying, I'm off my medication. And she says, I'm not saying that, you performed a miracle or anything. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I helped you. Your body healed itself. You took steps to be able to help yourself. I just helped you do that. And I love that I was a part of it. I don't take that away from myself, but they do the work. And when I do healing on other people, their body is trying to self heal. And so, just like we have a circulatory or nervous system, we have an energy system. And if we can promote that, clear up all the chakras, get the energy flowing correctly, or focus the energy in one certain area, like I helped somebody with an elbow injury the other day. they have really bad elbows. I do Reiki on them every so often, and that pain starts to go away, and it's becoming less and less over the past couple of months that we've been doing stuff. So it's an amazing thing to see how it can help. But ultimately, that's why I knew that it would work, is because I understood that our own body is amazing. And if we can connect the energy of our souls with our own natural physical system that God created both of those, if we can connect those, then yeah, we can boost our immune system. We can help ourselves heal and help others do the same.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out here with us tonight. We're going to start wrapping this thing up. As you guys can see, scrolling across the ticker down here, all of the doctor's links are right down below in the description. You need to check this dude out, and you bug him about getting his own YouTube channel and getting his podcast back off the ground. So you now have my permission to harass this man about doing that.
Oh, please don't do that.
He doesn't have enough stress. He doesn't have enough stress. We can add to it. We can add to it. So, something big that is coming out. I said that we were going to have we're going to have something big coming to the channel. This is the official announcement, ladies and gentlemen. This is the official announcement. Starting on June 2nd, every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel, Paranormal 101, and we're going to be focusing on equipment, paranormal equipment, how it works, why it works, best practices, things you can use to corroborate with it, reasons not to use it in certain situations. And I am actually super stoked to announce that we are partnering with Paranormal Electronics Limited. We are going to have one of their guys joining us every week on the show, and we're going to be sitting down and we're going to be taking a deep dive into the paranormal equipment. So you guys really don't want to miss this. This is something I've wanted to do almost since I started this thing as an audio podcast. So I am giddy as a schoolgirl right now. I have been holding on to this information for like a month and a half.
You made everybody sit through my interview to get that information, so you tortured everybody to be able to get there.
I'm good at what I do.
Yeah. Perfect. That's why everybody stayed on, so they could hear all that at the end.
Also, another big thing, guys, we just hit 500 subscribers. We're actually now over 500 subscribers on YouTube right here, and I am so blessed. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. But here's the big thing. So when we hit 1,000 subs, okay, I'm going to do a giveaway. Okay, we're going to give away a Paranormal State of Mind shirt from Sparks of the Paranormal. And guys, I want you pushing it. I want you to push it. Help me get there. Because this is a family. We are a community. And it's that love and support that really helps everybody get further in their paranormal career. I mean, look at Cassie. Cassie was on the show a couple of weeks ago and somehow it was crazy. Michael, man, we've got an incredible family because the Paranormies are huge on YouTube right now. They exploded. Well, awesome. They happen to be up in Canada where Cassie is, and somehow in the comments, they now are going to be teaming up with Cassie, somebody who has just now started paranormal investigating.
Awesome. It's awesome.
So that's what this is all about. This is about community. This is about friendship. And I am not somebody that asks for anything ever. I'm not. But I am asking for your guys' help. Let's boost this thing. Let's get it up and running, and let's run together, guys. Let's run together.
Oh yeah.
But all of the doctor's links are down in the description below. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. You guys need to do that. You got his website down there. All right.
Yep.
Sign up. Okay. Get a hold of him. Get a reading. This is all good stuff, guys. This is all good stuff. And when you're out there and you're following the good doctor, make sure that whenever you come across somebody in the world of the paranormal, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how different their investigating style is, show that love, show that support, because we're all out here for the same reason, and that is to find answers. So, guys, with that being said, I love you all. God bless. And we will talk to you next time on Sparks of the Paranormal.